So welcome to John S's sports channel where we do everything Championship, League One and running. Today we're going to go straight into the review of Championship game week 13. I'm going to start with Luton versus West Brom on Friday. And I agree with everything that Sky Sports commentary said. I've listened to a lot of commentaries and Sky Sports went straight in there and said this is a very bitty game. They're losing the ball too often. They're taking too many second passes, second touches. So right near the beginning, we saw it was Luton, and he went straight to the right side of the box, and then he could have just shot it straight behind two defenders, straight clear view at goal. But instead, he didn't. He pulled it back, took it to his left, and shot it with his other foot straight through a crowded box. And of course, it just fizzled out from there. And this happened too many times during that game. It was just very bitty. Moments of brilliance, moments of absolute technical bliss, but then moments of sheer madness where you'd lose the ball. There's no reason why he should have lost that ball. Why has he lost it? How's he lost it? Why has he took a second touch? Shouldn't be taking a second touch. And I totally agree with Sky Sports on that. Probably the first time I've ever done that. But yeah, they were right. It was just a little bit too bitty, a little bit too nervy. I think one of the phrases they said, it's very nervy, this game. And it was very, very nervy. From start to end, started off with Luton pressure, lots and lots of it. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, bang, the third touch by West Brom in the box. The third touch. This is only the first time they'd ever gone into the box. And I remember on the watch along saying, this is the first time they're in the box. It's a goal! First time in the box, third touch they've had in the box, and they score. Totally against the run of play. And then in the second half, West Brom came out better, and they really did start to get a bit of edge up front, and they really started to get that possession figure back up again, and Luton equalised, and it was like both teams scored against the run of play. I just found it a little bit too hard to watch with the amount of giveaway of the ball needlessly and the second touches. Was 1-1 a fair result? Yeah, we said Luton 2, West Brom 1. But to be honest, a lot of you were either side of the fence, and some of you a couple of you on the fence, but most of you were saying it's going to be a win from either team. So for those that said the very few, one or two I think it was, that said a draw, well done, you get a gold star. And we move on to our next game, which is Blackburn versus Sheffield United. So Blackburn with 58% possession, you'd think they'd get a few shots in. 9 shots, none on target. And Sheffield Wednesday, 43%, 20 shots, 9 on target, 2 goals. Actually, that's not many goals from 9 on target from an ex-Premier League side. There's a couple of things I want to mention about this game. Several times when I saw Sheffield United, sorry about that, guys. Sheffield United attacking. They used half the pitch, and I mean side to side. Once I saw them attacking and they were on the right side, and there was nobody on the left side of the pitch. And then on the next time it was the opposite side. They didn't seem to have the use of the full width of the pitch. They did sometimes, but quite often I saw them just drifting across and using the whole channel down one side and trying to fill that particular half of the pitch. Whether that's a game plan, I don't know. I mean, it worked. They won 2-0. Don't get me wrong. I just found it odd that they were allowing Blackburn the ability to sneak it down the opposite side, and realistically that's what they tried to do, but they were always being pushed back, and although Blackburn had the majority of the ball, they did very little with it. In fact, thanks to their goalie, I think if it wasn't for Piers in goal, you probably would have been looking at a 4 or 5-0 win to Sheffield United. Some of those goal line clearances were absolutely amazing, guys. You should be absolutely proud of that back line and the goalie, because Pearce and the back, certainly the central defenders, were absolutely phenomenal this weekend. Yeah, you lost 2-0, but the way they were hammering that goal, if you look on a replay, you'd be thinking that should have been 4 or 5-0. I actually think Blackburn did rather well there, and I actually thought that they played quite good football, and they didn't get pulled out of shape, and they didn't do anything wrong. That's what I mean. They didn't do anything wrong. They looked good. They had a good shape. They had a good game plan, which seemed to be sort of working, but it just got hit back by the Premier League class of Sheffield United, and that's about all we can say. What did we say? We said that this run of the green that Blackburn are getting would probably continue, and that Sheffield United's poor-ish spell. We say poor. What are they on? They've only lost 2, drawn 3. But they have been a little bit poor of late, not quite free scoring. And I agreed with most of 95% of you said 1-1. So Blackburn 1, Sheffield United 1. It was actually Blackburn 0, Sheffield United 2. There was one person who said 2-1 to Sheffield United. Well done, you get a star. And we move on to our next game. Hopefully we do a little bit better in this one, guys. We said Oxford versus Swansea. So we'll go on to Oxford-Swansea, shall we? Now, Swansea away at Oxford. This was one of those games that you can look at the stats on. It was Oxford 37% possession and Swansea 63%. And Oxford got 9 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal, and Swansea got 16 shots on target. 16 shots, 5 on target, 2 goals. Now that's actually really good. Both figures are really good. Exceptional from Swansea, seeing as they couldn't score for several games. And you'd think Swansea not scoring, got no goals in the last 5 before this, and all of a sudden they score 2 and it's 2-0 up. Now Swansea came out fastest, and they came out and pressurised the Oxford goals straight away. They were really firing on all cylinders. The crossbar saved Oxford's blushes, and Oxford didn't seem to have a response, and it wasn't till later on that Oxford suddenly realised, hey, we can actually do something here. But by then, I think the game had already fizzled out into a sort of, they're 1-0 up. They're not going to be letting go of this, because they're still well on top in the game. But Oxford started near the end to sort of gain a little bit of confidence. That goal on 88 was one of those moments where they suddenly thought, oh, hell, we could actually equalise here, we could do something. And that last minute header that just skimmed past the left-hand post. It was like that close from the side post. And you're thinking, they could have nicked it back. And that's what I like about Oxford. They never let their head down. They never give up. And they're always having a go. And yes, I think 2-1 to Swansea was probably about right. I think on balance, probably 2 or 3-1 would have been a reasonably fair result. Swansea did well. They do look like scoring again, and there was several. The bar actually saved both teams, didn't it? I think they both hit the bar once. But apart from that, there was some pretty way out shots where he's like welly it and hope that and had they actually gone in, they'd have been goal of the season, but in this instance, I think Swansea just need a little bit of a lift, a little bit of luck to go their way. And perhaps now they can take this and move on. So where are they in the table? I think that's important. Swansea are now in 12th with 16 points. And Oxford are now 19th with 14 points. And, they're only 2 points ahead of Plymouth in third from bottom. So they're not out of that relegation push yet. We are just over a quarter of the way through the season. So, we do have to think about these things now. Swansea, well, they're only 4 points away from the relegation zone. But then they're also five points away from the top six. So how flat is this, guys? So what did we say? We said Oxford 1, Swansea 0. I think what I was deciding there is like that most of you were saying, in fact all of you were saying it was going to be either an Oxford win or a draw. And I thought, well, go on, because Oxford are at home, I'm going to go with that crowd giving them a lift. And I went for Oxford 1, Swansea 0. It wasn't. It was Oxford 1, Swansea 2. And I think the nil part of Swansea was everybody saying, well, they haven't scored in 5. Are they going to score 1 or 2 now? Unlikely, but they did. So we'll move on. Where do we move on to? We go to Stoke versus Derby. Well, the Stoke-Derby game was quite end-to-end, really. 13 shots for Stoke, 4 on target, 2 goals, and 9 shots for Derby. So it was 13 shots for Stoke, 4 on target, 2 goals. Derby County 9 shots, 3 on target, 1 goal. Now, couple of things. I think that the Oxford players should have been given a second yellow for that tackle right on the edge of the box, where the Stoke player went head over heels and landed on his back, and that should have been a sending off. And at the other end, I can't stand it when people do acrobatics that try and get themselves penalties or disallowed goals. And for this one, it was a disallowed. It would have been the Stoke City's second goal. Well, it was the Stoke City's second goal. The Derby player clearly got tapped in the back, and he went down like, oh my God, I'm doing a pirouette in the middle of the air, and I'm going to land on the floor, and I'm going to play up it's all going to be a bad dream, and we're going to wake up and the goal will be disallowed. Now, honestly, had he just sort of like fallen down and he's just pushed me over, fine. I would have thought, yeah, there's an issue there. Could he have stopped the goal going in? Probably not. So I'd have probably let it go anyway. But I would have respected him more for going down and not playing acrobatics in the middle and doing a triple pirouette. So Derby County, please don't do things like that. I hate players that do pirouettes and what have you to try and make sure it looks a lot worse. That was just so darned obvious on the replays. Was it a good game? Yes, it was. It was an absolutely brilliant game, to be honest, and I enjoyed it as a neutral. I think that was a really good game to watch. Stoke City 2, Derby 1. Now, we said Stoke City 1, Derby 0. We were split here. I'm watching most of you saying 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. And then somebody else said 2-2. And then I've got 1-0 for Derby, 2-0 to Stoke. I'm thinking, where on earth do I go here? So I sort of played my joker because nobody said 1-0 to Stoke. So I decided that it was going to be a low-scoring game with just 1 goal in it, and it wasn't. So I didn't get that bit of it right, but I did get the result right. It was a Stoke City win, 2-1 to Stoke City rather than 1-0. And we move quickly on to Cardiff versus Norwich. So Cardiff-Norwich was another one of those cracking games that neutrals love. It was quite end to end. 43% possession to Cardiff, although you wouldn't think it. It looked quite even when you're actually looking at it. 57% to Norwich. 11 shots for Cardiff, 5 on target, 2 goals, pretty good. 16 shots for Norwich, 6 on target, 1 goal. They'll be disappointed in that. However, I think saying that they could have scored more but for the Cardiff goalie and defence, yeah, that's quite apt. But so Cardiff could have as well. Cardiff could have scored a couple more had it not been for Norwich's goalkeeper being so athletic and showing his athleticism in the goal. So realistically, they were about even. I could see a fair result being a draw. I really could. But on the whole, Cardiff came back stronger and stronger, and they never gave up. And although they went behind quite early on, really 52 minutes in the second half, so early on in the second half, you would expect a lot of teams to just when you're getting near the end, I give up. Okay, we'll just play the time. Let them play the timeout, and we'll regroup for next week. Cardiff never did that, and all the way through the game, I thought it was a really tough game, really hard tackles, and it was really high power, high pace all the way through. I don't know how some of these players managed to keep the high pace up all the way through that game. It was absolutely brilliant. I loved the game. It ended Cardiff 2, Norwich 1, and I look at what we were saying before this, and I'm listening to all of you, and you'll say, look, this is going to be a draw. I mean, we've got 3-3, 2-2, 2-2, and they've got 1-0 in either direction, and somebody said 2-1 to Norwich. So literally, scores from around the both sides and draws as well. I know, sod this, I'm going to go for the one that most people are saying, which is 2-2. So we went for Cardiff 2, Norwich 2. It could quite easily, I think that would have been probably a fair result, to be quite honest. But I think on the balance of it, Cardiff deserved it for the sheer dogged determination and never say die attitude. So it ended up Cardiff 2, Norwich 1. So we didn't get our correct result there, and we move on to one of my local teams, Portsmouth, Hull City versus Portsmouth. So for most of the game, Hull City were indeed on top, and they would have been deserved winners, to be quite honest. But, and in a big but, Portsmouth went into the Hull City half. Their defender literally gave with his left hand, yanked him back quite obviously in the penalty area, and they didn't get a penalty. In fact, the referee just carried on as if nothing had happened. Blatant penalty for me. That he knew he did it so quickly. What was that? Obvious penalty to Portsmouth. The second one that they were claiming at the other end in the second half, that wasn't a penalty. That was just a hustle and bustle of a full penalty area. And that last melee in the box, how on earth did Portsmouth not get that in the net? It hit the bar, it hit defender, it hit the goalkeeper a couple of times. It was ping pong ball. It just wasn't going to go in the net, was it? And when you're at the bottom, it doesn't. When you're at the bottom, it does not go in the net, and you can see things just not going for you. It's completely opposite to Blackburn. The run of the green when they're not playing that well, and they're all the way up there. Whereas Portsmouth, they don't get the run of the green, and things just don't go right for them, and they're down at the bottom. 1-1, was that a fair score? Well, we had 72% possession to Hull. 10 shots, 3 on target, 1 goal. Yeah, pretty decent. For 72% possession, I'd be thinking that they could get past that resilient defence of Portsmouth a little bit more. And 9 shots for Portsmouth, 4 on target, 1 goal. Yeah, pretty decent for 28% possession, isn't it? I just want to say about Hull City's goal, because Portsmouth, if you're going to play a flat back to try and catch people offside, you have to play it properly. That little middle, that central, whichever one of the central defenders it was, he pulled back too far and allowed him to be onside. Had he kept that flat back flat, he would have been offside. But when it was pushed forward, but yeah, or he could have been offside. I can't remember where the ball came from now. It might have come from further behind the line. But you've got to be able to play a flat back properly. I just saw a couple of little tweets where they're thinking they're not talking to each other. If you're going to play a flat back and try and play offside, you have to play it properly every time, because that one time that it fails, bang, goal. And that Hull City goal just showed me that you're looking at through the camera's angle and you're thinking they're trying to play an offside trap badly. So, in this division, it's little things like that will be the difference between staying up and getting relegated. So they really do have to try and think about that, I think. So what it was 1-1. What did we all think? Well, I got Hull City 1, Portsmouth 0. It is on the road. They're not winning very many games, are they, Portsmouth? Just put it mildly, will we? And they were on the bottom. Hull City 15th. I actually did put, and I put in my comments here, brackets 1-1. So I did actually in my prediction video say, I could see this being a 1-1. It was a 1-1. I'll claim a side star for that, I think, because it was indeed Hull City 1, Portsmouth 1, and I did say that it could end up 1-1 if Portsmouth do their usual sort of drawing quite a lot of games, aren't they? How many have they actually drawn this season, just out of interest? 6 games they've drawn. Won 1, drawn 6, and lost 6. Drawn 6 games. Wow. There's only QPR's drawn 7. Sheesh. They're not the most draw happy. So we will now move on to Leeds versus Plymouth, and this game was indeed one of those games that we expected to be fully one-sided. Let's see what the review will make of it. Look, we expected this to be all one way. It was Leeds 79% possession all the way through the game, actually. 23 shots, 7 on target, 3 goals, pretty good, yeah. 22% possession to Plymouth, no shots, none on target, no goals, no question. They were out of it all the way through the game. I just want to touch on that first goal. Now, it doesn't make any difference to the game, and it wouldn't have had it been something that Plymouth did all the way through. But as the goal went in and the camera scanned slowly to the right, you saw 5 Plymouth players huddled up within about 2.5 yards of each other, and you're thinking, for God's sake, you can't just. They were being pulled. The Leeds had done an absolutely amazing job, and what they'd done is they pulled them one way, pulled them the other, until they'd almost like rounded them up like sheep, and Plymouth ended up, I think unwittingly, gathered in a little spot, and you'd had all the Plymouth defenders were all huddled together, and it was no wonder that Leeds had done such a brilliant job of rounding them up and then bang in the net. And great piece of attacking work and a great piece of midfield play. Because really, it's the midfielder's job to try and round them up so that they can then give it to this striker to get it in the box. Absolutely brilliant work by Leeds. And some of that tactical prowess and thought in the game as it's going was absolutely brilliant to watch. Not very good if you're a Plymouth fan I think that they need to be able to be a little bit more, have a little bit more nous about what the opposition are actually trying to do here, because late after that, I think they did. After that, they didn't quite get pulled and rounded up, and quite. I think it was a third goal where they were actually all nice and spaced out. At least they weren't huddled together. They weren't pulled together so they could have an easier shot. However, they were just walking around. So you've got to be more sturdy in defence. Do what they did in the second half, I think, Plymouth, and not get rounded up. I don't think Plymouth played badly, and I really don't. I don't think that was a bad performance. I think it was just outplayed by a side that is trying to make sure it gets back into the Premier League. And that's it. You know, there's no doubt that they are one of the big guns that people down in the bottom half, teams down in the bottom half, are going to be afraid of, because you know they've got really good players. I mean, Aronson is. I saw him playing earlier on. And he's brilliant. I mean, he was just cutting straight through the defence right from day one. So I like him. That's probably my favourite player actually from the Leeds side. And so it isn't all doom and gloom. It was Leeds 3, Plymouth 0, and we said Leeds 4, Plymouth 0. And there were people who actually got that result correct. More than one of you got it correct. So gold stars handed out to all those that said 3-0. Well done, you guys. How the hell did you get the right score there? We knew it was going to be a walkover, but how much of a walkover it would be. They are just class, aren't they? Let's face it. There's no disrespect to Plymouth. Leeds are a class act. So, you know, I'm sure Plymouth will do their usual, brush off, get to the next game, and they'll turn up. So where do we turn up to next? We turn up to Borough versus Coventry. Give myself a tick. I gave myself a cross then. Give myself a tick for that one. And Borough versus Coventry. So we'll look at the stats. Borough 50% play, Coventry 50%. Borough 9 shots, 1 on target, no goals. Coventry City 10 shots, 4 on target, 3 goals. They were just a little bit more clinical, weren't they? Well, no, actually, Coventry really did run this game quite well. It seemed to be quite well planned. The game plan seemed to work. I enjoyed some of their play. Some of their play was really, really excellent. I think this on a different day, this could have been 4-5-0. The sending off, that second yellow. For one start, please, Coventry player that rolls on the floor about 6 times. I think I counted. Why roll 6 times? The momentum didn't have you rolling 6 times. Impossible. You would have to be going downhill and being pushed by a bus. There's no way he should have rolled 6 times. That was just being stupid. However, I couldn't quite tell whether he got the ball or whether he got the person. So I can't really say what my views are. If he got the person, then he deserved to get sent off. But did the rolling on the floor make a difference to the referee? He obviously thought it did because he rolled 6 times. Well, obviously thought it would. That said, Coventry were always. I think Coventry did play the better football and were just that little bit more clinical in the box. Would it have made a difference? 22 minutes getting a sending off. You know, I think it did stop the game for Borough. But for me, Coventry used the both the width and the fact that Borough played so high up the pitch to just do a quick counter attack very, very well. and that to me would have probably meant them winning anyway. I think that how they were playing and the manner that they were playing was just always going to get them the win. Not by me looking at the styles beforehand, but when you actually saw it in action on the day, yes, it was going to make a difference, that Coventry side, how they were set up against the way that Borough were pushing forward and leaving their back open so much. So, what did we say? We said Borough 2, Coventry 1, because Coventry aren't really firing yet. They keep showing little signs of brilliance. That win that they recently had, totally out of the blue for me. But now I think people are going to start lifting their heads and thinking, hell, have things turned? If they carry on like that, yes, I think they have. Borough, we know they've got class. They just need to be able to show it. Lingering around, I mean, where are they now? Borough are now in 11th on 18. Coventry are 13th with 15 points. And I just think that overall, Coventry have a really good future for the rest of the season. I think they're going to be certainly building on that. I think there's something to build on, something to increase on. That to me showed technical prowess in the planning of the game, and the game plan was perfect on this occasion. Hopefully they'll be able to transfer that to the other games, and they'll all be as great to watch. Borough, we know you can do it. We just want to see that technical ability coming out, and less stupid red cards if it was a tap to the foot rather than to the ball. So both teams did well in my eyes, but at the end of the day, that final clinical shot was there from Coventry. Borough 0, Coventry 3. We said we said 2-1, and it was literally there was only one person, I think, who said 2-1 to Coventry. I'll give you a sort of yellow star. But most people were saying Borough would have it 9th against 18th at the time. It wasn't. It was Borough 0, Coventry 3, and completely different from what most people were thinking there. And we go on quickly to the Preston-Bristol City game. So Bristol City had 41% possession in this, 5 shots at target, 3 shots on target, 3 goals. Pretty good, eh? Not many shots, but you don't need them if 3 of them are on target and go in the net. Preston North End, 60% possession, 14 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal. More on target, I think, is the answer to that one. Go on, I'm going to say that was a handball, but in the Championship, in the EFL, we haven't got VAR. The referee was clearly blindsided by so many people being in the way. You've got the Preston player and the goalkeeper there, and he was here. He can't see through 2 players to where the hand was. It's impossible. And I think the linesman was on this side as well. So you can't actually, it's not going to work. So unfortunately, the EFL system means you're not going to get that scene. It's not possible. So all in all, should that goal have stand for Bristol City? No, but it's like Maradona. They're not going to say, "Oh, sorry, Gov, I handballed it. Sorry about that," and walk off with a 0-0. So Preston North End, didn't give up. had they kept doggedly pushing and trying a couple of shots. They did actually play really good, and I thought they played quite well. But Bristol City just kept them pushed back, and they never got the chance to. They really didn't get many chances to go forward. That's why they only got 5 shots at target. They spent most of the time just trying to keep Bristol City from getting into the final third. I thought it was a good game. I as a neutral, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. I thought it could have gone. It could have gone as much as a draw. I think a draw. Yeah, would have been possibly a fair result considering how Bristol City went in ahead. I think that really did kill the game because people, I just saw a few sort of angry, the sort of anger came into it. You know, they knew that they'd been done, and it was as if they just sort of, yeah, this isn't fair, and the heads dropped, and they become bitter about what had happened. You've got to leave that behind, guys, and move on. And they didn't seem to move on for me. But it was a good game. I did enjoy Bristol City's free-flowing football. I did enjoy Preston North End. I thought they actually played really well. How they managed to lose it, I don't know, because to me, they'd certainly played well enough to score at least 2 in there. So yeah, both sides should be pretty proud. I think that Bristol City probably less so because they know that they've got one of those goals through handball, and it was the first one, and the first one always seems to like set the atmosphere for the game, doesn't it? And especially when it shouldn't have stood. So what happened? 1-3 to Bristol City. What did we say? We said 1-1. Preston North End have been playing better and better, but Bristol City have been really good for draws, haven't they? Really, really good for draws. So we said Preston 1, Bristol City 1. It was Preston 1, Bristol City 3. We didn't get anything there. Yeah, our Preston guy said, I think William, isn't it, said 2-1 to Preston. No, no. I mean, it might have been had that handball not ruined the game, but I think it really did ruin the game. We go on then to so we didn't get that one right. We move on to QPR Sunderland quickly. I think this was a game of 2 halves, wasn't it? Sunderland came out on all guns firing. They looked like they were going to sail this one. And then that was quite a bad tackle. That he really did deserve a red for that. That's the way his feet were up, and that could have been quite nasty. That. So Joe Bellingham going off on 58. And I think that really did. That was you would expect that to be one of those times that something really does change in a side, and that they'd sort of find it a little bit difficult and have to sort of readjust and jig their side to get the best out of what they've got. But it didn't happen like that. Sunderland actually stayed on top. And as can be seen from the stats, 60% to QPR, 40% to Sunderland. And I know what you're thinking, but they only got 40. But in the first half, up to that sort of that bit in the second half where he got sent off, it was Sunderland that were seen to me to be doing most of the pressing. And most of the real good shots were coming from the odd intersection by Sunderland, and yeah, they weren't on target, but that's what it was. Them that were in the ascendancy to me. I I think towards the in the second half, it sort of gradually changed to QPR. And then you got the Bellingham send off, and it just went straight to a QPR. How many are we going to score? 17 shots to QPR, 3 on target, no goals. 8 to Sunderland, 1 on target, no goals. I think that sending off did make a difference. I think it had already turned in this when they came out for the second half. I think when they came out for the second half, to me, QPR had started the strongest. We'd started to see Sunderland tire out at the end of the first, but they were still slightly on top by the end of the first half. But then when in the second half, I think QPR really did start to tick quite well. And then we got the sending off, and QPR just looked like it was when were they going to score, not if. However, Sunderland managed to stay at 0-0. They'll probably be the happier of the two sides, especially since they got a red card from it, and the end of that game was certainly all let's pepper shots at Sunderland's goal. So they'll be the happier. QPR fans will be left wondering, how do we not win it? But how many times do we say 10 men are harder to beat than 11? And that's just what it was here. Fair result? No, I think QPR deserved to win that one, and they look like winning it. I think it was one of those long winding road comments from last week. It was a long winding road, but it was bound to happen. It didn't. It might have done after about 100 minutes, but that's far too late. So QPR 0, Sunderland 0. We went with QPR 0, Sunderland 2, because like I said, they're top of the league, they're flying. Bellingham's the key kingpin here, isn't he? And he's going to be missed for that next game, isn't he? It was 0-0. Somebody actually got 0-0. Gold star to you. So it was 0-0. We didn't get anything for that either. And we moved quickly on to Sheffield Wednesday versus Watford. So hands up if you thought that Watford would win 6-2. Because I bet you there's not many people out there that even thought Watford would get 6. I'll be quick. What scores were you saying? 2-1, 3-2, 2-1, 2-0, 1-1, 2-1. You were all saying Sheffield Wednesday, and I went with you 2-1 because that's what I've been doing lately. I've been trying to get what I think and then try and mould it with what you think. And I think that you were right. 13th place Sheffield Wednesday have been playing quite well. And at home, they're really, really good. And Watford, I can see them scoring, but could they score enough to like quieten the Sheffield Wednesday players and crowd? Unlikely. Unlikely. But unfortunately, I was completely wrong. And so were you. Nobody got the fact that Watford would win from the ones that I got messaged. So Sheffield Wednesday 2, Watford 6. Sheffield Wednesday had 48% possession, 14 shots, 6 on target, 2 goals. That's actually pretty bloody good. 52% possession to Watford, 16 shots, 8 on target, 6 goals. Accuracy to an nth degree, and they did really, really well there. And I think there was one one of those 6 could have been offside, but I don't think it's when you're that far behind or that far ahead. It's not going to make any difference, and it may do at the end for Sheffield Wednesday. 1 goal difference negative can and has sent teams down. I don't see that for Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday did actually play quite well, and that second goal by Valentine was amazing. I saw where he was, and I'm thinking, how the hell's that gone in? It was a bloody good shot, and Yeah, oh, really good. Some really good play by both teams. Perhaps Wednesday were just trying to chase the game and pulled out a little bit too far. Who knows? But something tactically was wrong. They tried. I think Wednesday tried chasing the game, and they could have done it, but Watford were just too determined to keep on attacking that Wednesday goal, and it finished Sheffield Wednesday 2, Watford 6. So Sheffield Wednesday hit for 6. What did we think? Sheffield Wednesday 2, Watford 1. Like I said, most of you are saying 2-1, so I went with you lot. I think, yeah, you're probably right. Sheffield Wednesday are good at home. The crowd is amazing. And yeah, they really did try and lift the Wednesday side. Unfortunately, we got that one totally wrong. We didn't see 8 goals in that game. Comment if you actually, comment if you're a Watford fan or another fan. You think that you actually thought before the game that Watford were capable of scoring 6 against Sheffield Wednesday, and it was only time. So just comment in the bottom. I'd love to hear from you. Millwall versus Burnley next, and we'll finish with this one. Millwall 35% possession, 12 shots, 3 on target, 1 goal. So 35% possession, 12 shots. That's pretty damn good. 65% possession to Burnley, only 8 shots. They'll be pretty disappointed in that, and only 1 of those on target, and obviously didn't go in. No goals. It was actually end to end. It was end to end. I don't know how Burnley didn't get more shots, but this has been a problem for them, and I've been saying this all this season so far, and it's only just over a quarter away gone, I know, but they need to get more shots and more clinical. They're very clinical with the ones they have. If they'd have got another 2 shots on target, I guarantee one of them would have gone in the net. But 1 on target. Usually they have very few shots, very, very few shots. But most of them are on target and a high percentage go in the net. And I'm just like, they need to be able to create more. If they can create more, then this Burnley side is going to be unstoppable. Again. Millwall, yeah, they're at home. What is it? You know, I said last season that I missed this. I missed the Den being a place of fear. You know, you can't go to the Den and win. It's impossible. Millwall has started to recreate this atmosphere of the Den is a fearful place to go. You know, and all of a sudden, and I looked at this game and I thought, what are you all saying? A couple of you said 1-0 to Millwall, and I'm going to choose that. You know why? Because I think Millwall will win this, because they've made the Den really, really difficult to win in. I don't think that they're capable of scoring lots against a Burnley side that are certainly Premier League class. However, Burnley, if they can stop them, like a lot of teams have, from getting enough shots to get one off on target, then they could reduce them to 1 or 0 goals. So I went with Millwall 1, Burnley 0. It was Millwall 1, Burnley 0. We got the correct score and the correct result. Thank you very much. Please do like and subscribe. Please do click the bell. We'll be doing lots and lots of videos, especially this week with midweek football. Lots of watch-alongs and listen-alongs. At the minute it's listen-alongs. So we've got lots of those. We'll have the odd watch-along as well while we're at it. Lots of reviews, lots of predictions, and we will leave you. John S. Sports Channel. Over and out. Like and subscribe.